How's it going, guys? Oh, it's good to be back at it. I hope you guys have been doing well. If you are a regular trader with me, you know that it's been a little bit since I've actually posted to YouTube. I'm glad to be back to kind of doing it. I haven't been away. I've been just mainly doing stuff in Discord as opposed to over here. Hope to be getting back to trading over here and or posting stuff weekly, a couple times a week, maybe even every night of the week, whenever I get the opportunity. But I've got something I want to start doing. I do it myself, but I figured why not go live with it, answer questions, and talk through the morning calls that I do if you guys want to see it. So every day now, something that I've started doing recently is I give my thoughts for the day. I write them out. I post them so they're written in stone before the market opens. And then I trade off of the ideas that I post. And I want to review that now at night and kind of just start putting that out there, start reviewing it live, and kind of just see how that goes. So it has been a minute since we get going, or since we've done this, but I think I still know how to do it. We'll find out and see. But with all this being said, my name's Gator. Welcome to the Swamp. Let's check out these evening review of some of our opening ideas. So, first off, cheers, Banditos. Good stuff this week. Market did end up coming in, or at least some of these names came in. So, for those of you who don't know, there's a link to the Discord in the description below. It is free. I have a morning list that I post every day of what I'm looking at. You can see them here. You probably cannot read them, but I'm going to read them off. And I'm going to review them, what I was looking at, what I was thinking, if I was wrong, if I was right, and seeing as how I posted all of it prior to the market opening, it'll be easy enough to kind of tell. So the first name I posted to my list was, and this was actually one that worked, we'll come back to this, Netflix. I'm going to move my face out of the way for these to either side, or I'll take my face completely off the screen if needed. All right, Netflix. First thing I posted said, watching for follow through to the downside. So I'm looking for downside on this big gap down. I'm looking for us to follow through to the downside. On any failure to retake 440, looks like a good short. If you have the hourly 200, or you have the hourly 200 at 431, so there's some support there. And I would look for 427.55. Was my idea for the short. So 457.25, 427.55 was my downside target. If we could not get support, that happened right about here in the afternoon. And and then on the flip side, I said if you catch a bid and you can cut through that 440, you would look for everything to pop and to get up to about 444.50 or so. So I was looking for a pop. 444.50. I think I was wrong. Either I posted this wrong, or I must have 55. I think I just typed a 4 instead of a 5, and I meant 55.50. So I thought it could have popped up to here. I was looking at a 15-minute 200, a 5-minute. So I said 4. I think I said 445 when I typed it. I meant 55. So I was looking for basically a test of R2 in Netflix. It didn't pop at all. It failed to get above and hold 440. Just big candle at the open, up and down. Then we digested lower. I actually didn't play this one, but I just want to go over it, what I was looking at. So if we go back, we know that if you trade with me, we've started using the anchored VWAP. This was one of them that we had. So I thought this one was important today, because this is where you've had a lot of buyers. It pulled back, it came up, and it actually broke out. We traded this breakout. But now this anchored VWAP from all these buyers was over top of us. So that was my overhead, what I was looking at for resistance, along with R2. And then to the downside, we had another anchored VWAP. And this one I thought was either going to be support early, which you also had a 5-minute 200. I believe that was fairly close. Oh, no, an hourly. Sorry, I'm not even sure what I was looking at earlier today. Oh, here we go. Hourly 200. that was pretty close to it. So I thought at the open you had some support down here. We should at least go down and test this lower anchored VWAP. If we didn't, then we'd break down and hit that 427.50, which is what we did. So the trade worked, or at least the idea of the trade worked. It actually followed through to about where I thought target was. I don't think this name is done going to the downside. I wouldn't be surprised if it can't get up above the hourly 200 on Monday for this to follow through. If you really want an aggressive play, I would say the aggressive play would be something like this, a full fib move and a 127 down to about 418. 59 or so, and I mean you could even get a lot more than that depending on how you want to draw this and what you want to do. But that was the idea for this morning. This isn't one I played. It did work. I was just focused on a few other names, so I thought it might have been a little bit more juicy. Netflix can be hard to trade early, but that was the idea. That's what I saw. I saw a name that you had been in this value area, consolidating, pushing higher. We broke out, we came down hard, and then basically what I was looking at is, are we going to get back above this value area and push, or are we going to get back above, and obviously we're coming down today, the market, so are we going to do that, or are we going to reverse and sell off? It sold off. Target was 427.55. We hit that, we came in, and we actually went through that a little bit, so decent and good trade there. Tesla, I said I'm going to wait and see if it can pop and retake 268 and hold. If so, I'm looking for a long into 272. If buyers come in there, I'll look for 276. I had a couple anchored VWAPs and stuff was what I was thinking. We opened up right here. I was thinking if we hold here at the open, we could get a push up into the hourly 21. There was a 15-minute 200 above you. So there was a couple levels above us I thought we were going to push up into and just test this breakout basically. See if we could test the, sorry, here we go. I am slightly slow. If we can test these upper levels here, these anchored VWAPs. So if we're going to be able to come back up and test them and make a move, or if we were just going to hit them and roll over. So I wasn't sure. That was what I was looking for if we caught a bid. On the backside of that comment, I said, right on the 276, then we'll see if it tops out and rolls over. If we start to sell off or fail to hold 268, I'll look for 257.50 and 248.48 if we really crash hard. So the first one, the 257.50, is what I was looking for. I mean, obviously the market was weak today, but 257.50, 258 did not quite come in. I actually missed it by a little bit. I think in one of the other chats, somebody asked me where I thought it was or where it thought it could go. I did not trade this one today. Tesla is a name I trade a lot, but it just wasn't one that I thought was perfect on my radar, because when I was looking left, there was a decent amount of support, including the hourly 200. You have this whole breakout here that took place. So to me, a lot of buyers were going to start coming in at the 257s, 258. So we didn't quite hit. We tagged S1, and that's fine. But we did come down to, we slowly grind down. So the idea basically for me at the open was, if Tesla was my main focus, and if I was really looking at this name, if it didn't break out really early above 268, then you just basically short it right off the open as soon as it rejects. 268, opened at 268, failed and came in, so took a short. If that was the way you played it. And I'm interested to see, for you guys who watch this after the fact, if you drop a comment and let me know if the way I post these notes are helpful. Maybe doing this show will be helpful too, for you to put together ideas of your own, and if it can actually help you take a trade and make profit off of it. I know it helps me, and I'm trading the notes that I post, so. But inside breakdown, beautiful play, 21 test if you're interested in that. So Tesla, good move to the downside. Actually, I did play this one. I took this buy. I did play this one because I lost in the first trade, which we'll review in a second, and then jumped into Tesla and a re-entry on the second trade, and that ended up working out. Amazon, this was a name I didn't love because I don't like how it trades. It trades so small, but I liked it for a short because when you look at it, I said if Amazon simple, if 131 holds, I'm going to look for a move into 133.51, which is up here. So 133.51. Thought I was going to retest this. I was going to come up and test up here. If it didn't, if it doesn't, I'm looking for 127.50, and we're about a point off of that where we're at. The name really didn't sell off. What I'm still looking at here, and I was just expecting to kind of come into this value where these bounces have happened, is what I was looking for. A little bit higher than it, or a little bit higher than those. Didn't take this name. What I saw was you were in this area for a while. You broke out. We re-entered it. We were opening up right above it. If you sell off right at the open and can't hold, basically 30.78, 30.76, you can't hold that. You're going to come back in and you're going to start, I was thinking possibly sell off, but you're going to hold in and chop around in the middle of the range. So I thought we could break lower. We didn't. Name held up relatively well compared to the rest of the market today. But you're back inside this area, so there is a chance that 125 will be coming. And depending on where we open up on Monday, I'll be looking. This name could be on my list, especially if it fails to break out. Depending on if we gap up. If we're back up here again and we catch a bid, I'd be looking for possible two-wave corrective higher into 33 or so, and if not, then I look for a sell-off into the bottom of the range, 25, and then possibly even lower to 23. So that's just my thoughts looking for the charts for the next couple of days. But I do know right now, that's what I was looking at in Amazon this morning. I need to post these in order of like that I care about them, but that was my idea on Amazon, what I thought about it, why I wrote those notes down. Second thing, Microsoft, or fourth name I posted, Microsoft. Microsoft was a good hitter today. Worked out beautifully. I said, gonna watch to see if it can break out and hold above a steep descending trend line. This is the steep descending trend line I had. So what I was looking at, we were opening up right here. I said, if this just rips and breaks out, and I looked left and you could see these, the sell off here. So I was like, man, if we can get above this and we hold, I'd look for a snapback long. So that was part of the idea. So if we actually break and hold this descending trend line, I'd look for a move into 357. So right, you can see where that is, right up here. And if we cannot get above that line, I would look, if we cannot get above 351, I'll look for a sell-off to the 342 area. So 351 was my breakout, what I was looking for, which is right about here. So what I wanted it to see, which was an estimate when the market started, that was about where that descending trend line was going to be. And we tested, so if we couldn't break out through 151, 51.50 and hold, then I was looking for a sell-off to 42. I was like 342, and obviously that did hit, and actually it went a little bit lower, 339. 83 was the lows on the day. That last 15-minute candle, or these last candles were wild. It actually hit here, and I wasn't on the mic, but I was chatting in one of the rooms, and that was a wild bounce. But that being said, this is not, so this kind of did what it kind of followed the plan. If you would have taken it early, super early, you would have got stopped out. But on an all-day mover, it did great. The idea worked that it could never get up and reclaim 351. You had this big shooting star, and then it did not go quickly. But if you're a slow swing trader, or you like to hold stuff a little bit longer, kind of take the idea, and as long as the idea is still working, not get out of it. You had a lot of tops here, just consolidate, and then eventually we sold off. We came down, and I was in the room here and talked about the short in it down to 42 after we actually broke down and then tagged the 21. So one thing about this name is, even if you didn't take it here and you didn't hold it here, what I do when I come back in the afternoon, and this is just a note I want to make on this, and it's the same thing for a lot of other names when I trade, is I want to review what I saw this morning and then see if there's any names that are still in play within the idea that I had this morning. How right was I? How wrong was I? For this name, yo, what up? What up, Joe? For this name, this was in play this afternoon when I came back after I got my kids down. Why? Because we did everything. We never broke back above. We're grinding lower. We're below the 21 on the 2-minute. Plenty of stuff on the 5-minute too. Hope you had a good day, brother. Hope you traded well. And then if you see this happen and this shooting star and this coming down, you know, there's your setup later in the afternoon. So even if something doesn't work quickly, you know, if you just like to hold stuff all day, short and common, that's fine. And you just put your stop, you know, you take your entry, or you take your entry here and you just put your stop up here, you know, then you're fine. But if you're someone that looks for the shorter stuff, what I'm looking for then is something later in the day that's still within what I thought was going to happen in the morning. And then I just try to put that together in the afternoon to get it to target. So had this at 248. I didn't catch it there. I think I actually said I didn't like anything, and I was waiting. I did take it here at 44 because I missed this one. I was like, it could still go lower, and then the target, you know, all the way down to 242 area is what I said. If you look left, it's easy to determine why I said 242. Bounce, topping, a lot of volume here if you look at the volume profile on the left hand side. So, you know, that was really just where I thought the natural point of resistance was, or the support was, if you were to break down here and come in. I thought that's where you were going to come to based on that. Also, I believe it was based on, I had a fib line or something. Yeah, I had this fib line drawn from a move that took out, you know, you had two legs here. So for me, you had one big leg, you had a second leg. If you want to draw it like this, you had one leg, a second leg, and then a pop back up, failure to retake what we wanted, and a continuation of this downtrend, short-term downtrend, and the target's, you know, 42. So I had the lines all kind of in this area. You look left, you had all the support and resistance from the past there. You had a fib line that got you there based off of a previous leg. It all kind of made sense to me for a 442 target. And I took that one. Corey guy, interesting volume bars. Does it build from the top bottom each minute, or I don't know what you mean. This is just volume profile. So if you go to here and you add it, this is just I don't know what this is. Volume at price. This is just the volume at price. So you can see historical volumes. So you can see where there was a lot of volume. You can see there's not a lot of volume in here. So if you're to break down and, you know, there's no volume in this area, you can assume that you're, you know, as you break this area, you're not going to hit support until you come into the volume from the past, because that's where your buyers and sellers are. So it's just volume at price is all it is, Corey. And so I'll use that to find levels too. So that's how I got 442 today. If you were watching, Microsoft didn't play it in the morning, did it in the afternoon. NVIDIA was the other name that we threw up here. My notes for today. If you want to see my notes and you're like, oh, what did he say? Are they accurate? Hop over to Discord, check them out. Links in the description if you want to be over there. If you're a bot, stop posting in our room. I got to figure out how to block that. But yeah, they're right there. You can see them. I try to post them every day as soon as I can complete them. So if I said in the video, if we can catch a bid early, I think this name could snap back to the 465 area, then top out and roll over. So we opened up today right where? 4 p.m. Where's today? We opened up today. So if we could hold up and snap, what did I say? Breakout. Hold the 465. So you had a 2-minute 200 right on top of you. If we could break out, I thought we were going to come back up into the top here. Into, what did I say? Sorry, a little bit slow, long day on NVIDIA 465. So I had this big fib line draw, which was basically this big down move, just to see where the different retracements were. This wasn't, and there's the target, just to see where the retracements were, because here's your kind of V bottom, your failure, your move lower, we pop back up. All right, are we going to actually be able to hold here and do a corrective up in a 65? And then we have this double top. We have, if you look left, there's a lot of other volume bars to your left. So what I'm looking at is left on the chart between the two fib lines, 65. So I'm thinking between 64 and 65 if we break out above the 2-minute 200, and there's probably a 5-minute 200 that was up there too at the point. But looking at that, I was like, okay, if we break out, that's my upside target. If we don't and we roll over, if we fail to get bullish, I'm looking for 446.20, $446.20 on the downside. You can see where that came from, kind of. It actually was 446.16. I must have fat fingered 26, but basically just taking the fib of this entire down move, the two legs, and assuming that we're going to get follow through. And then that also lined up with S1, that also lined up with this big volume node. And then if you zoom in like here, you can also see the bottom of this, 465, 455. So that's how I got the targets in NVIDIA. That's what I was looking at there, and why I thought we would break lower. You know, you can't get above it, you come down, boom, you fail to get above it again, and we kind of do what we do. So it's just volume at price if you're using TC2000 Core. So there was some support down here at 45. We'll see what happens from there. That's how I got that target this morning. That's how I had the trade idea. We'll see. There's some support down here around 37, 34. And you can see this is where this breakout happens. I fully expect this to test. And if I was to draw a measured move of what we've done, and you consider this like a distribution top, let's say this is a distribution top, I could see something like this happening. So I could see our next stop. If we go down, we might pop back up again. But if we come back down, I could see 37.50 testing early next week. And then you have somewhat of an ascending channel line that's not great. I should probably zoom out and mess around a little bit more with this weekend to try to find a more accurate line. So we kind of hit that. So I wonder, we'll probably come back into the top of this. This is where there's probably so much volume and support around 430 to 438. So I'm expecting this anchored VWAP to test around 436, 470, and then we'll see what happens. That's just anchored VWAP. We'll see what happens to this anchored VWAP. So I'll mess around with these on Sunday night and kind of determine what I want to do Monday. But that's kind of what I'm looking at there in NVIDIA. I think it's gonna. I definitely think we're gonna come in here on this one, but I could be wrong. I'm not gonna play it until it happens. But that was my idea today. That's where I got that target from. That was also the bottom of this kind of breakout, so it seemed like a natural point to go for the 462 for an early target if we kind of grind it lower. I didn't expect everything to sell off as much as it did yesterday. Today, I expected things to be a little bit slower, you know. So I wasn't overly shocked when they weren't. So that was the NVIDIA idea. That's where I got the levels. That's how I kind of came up with that. Hopefully this helps you guys kind of come up with your own stuff. Meta. Meta had a couple things. So Meta, I took this one at the open. This and Tesla. So Meta, I tried to take a short. I took a short at a 1 minute breakdown, and I did not sell down here, so I got stopped out, and then I actually re-entered on the breakdown here, and I did not get stopped out here, and I held this all the way down to 228, and then yeah, all the way down to 32, so, or 92. So Meta, I said looking for a short to set up in the name. If it's weak early, I'll look for a break of yesterday's low and a move into 297 and 292.23. If it pops hard at the open, I would look for 308, 58, and 310. Reason for that was that's just a natural. Like if the market was going to rip higher, I thought you could get a snapback in this. Where did we open up? We opened up like all the way up here. So I remember at the beginning of the day we're here. So I think, hey, we could pop back up and then sell off from 308 and 310. Which was a fib of this entire move down. So if you just look at this entire move yesterday, which constituted two legs down, I thought we'd come back up and test the 307 to 310 and then roll over up there. We didn't. We just did a little bit of a pop. We went short, and we shorted Meta all the way down. I said 297 was the first target, and that hit right, almost right there. Ended up hitting down here, and then the second target was 292.23, and that actually ended up hitting 291.20 was the lows. So that extreme target hit. I think I redrew this box after the fact. So I would have to mess around and see exactly where I got that level from. I think I just did this. I think I just threw it at this volume and see like 292.50. I think I had a fib lineup or something like that. But this anchored VWAP was the first target on the breakdown. So if you see where we're at here, these anchored VWAPs are powerful. You had them, and that's where we opened up. That was support. We failed to break those immediately. So what I was looking at was an instant break of those. You're going to come down to the next ones, which is also this value, this previous value area. So because we had this previous value area there, you're going to come in and test that. So that's my first target, 297. And then after that 297, we are, your next stop is the bottom of all this, 292. That's also the fib to finish out your 3 legs down, and a measured move. So all those things lined up together. So Meta was the move that we caught today. That was my biggest trade. Took that one down from, what's that, 305. I think I bought the second time at like 303 something as it broke that. No, as it started to break down, took it in at 307 or 97. So what, 6 points or something, and then made another few points on it to the downside. So roughly a 12-point move or something. This was definitely the trade of the day. But on the bad news that Meta had, there was a lot of people, I'm sure, that shorted this that did it. It didn't go as quickly as I wanted, but I sat in it and ended up making the money. So it was the last name I posted, but the one I was most, a fan of. So that's kind of how that worked. That's how I got those levels and that target, and those kind of extreme targets. So thankfully today, I'm not always this right. As you guys know that watched it, we did have 2 names that didn't go to target, and it kind of held up a little bit better. But that's what I was looking at. And that's how I got those things early in the day, how I decided to kind of come up with those trades, as it were. And hopefully that kind of helps. And I think I'm going to start trying to do these, and as I kind of do them more, I think I'll be able to make them a little bit better, help my typing, help me look back at trades, talk about how I trade them, show entries and stuff like that. And I think it'll be helpful to make me improve, but then also give you guys ideas of things to look at to create your own trading plans, because so many guys talk about in Discord and other places, finding moves or predicting stuff. This isn't rocket science or magic. You're just looking at price action, and if you do this every day, you see it in, you see it out. You can start finding patterns, finding things that work. When you see like a fib line, S2, a measured move, all these things kind of coming together at once, you're like, there's a good chance that price is going to come to that level if proper things set up, so you can begin to position yourself to take trades to get you there. So that's kind of the goal of what I'm doing here. If you guys like this kind of stuff, leave a like, a comment, just to let me know, so I can know to keep doing them. Obviously I got to get back in the mood to stream, in a regular streaming pattern to get posting videos and all that kind of stuff, to kind of get myself back in the groove and in the rhythm of doing this. But those are the ideas for today. Those were the names I posted. Pretty decent, I think. Not super hard when it's just a follow-through day in the market. There are definitely days that are a little bit harder. But I was happy with the call-outs today. I was happy with the trades that we did today. Trying to look at the SPY around, and if you guys think differently, or are there things I can do different in Discord, please let me know. Thoughts on the SPY today around 12:30 to 1 p.m. 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. 12:30 to 1:30. It's quarterback, or like whatever. It's just consolidation. I don't see anything. You're in a range, so I don't see anything here. If you take this and you take your first candle high, your first leg, and you take your first leg low, which is also open, or Friday's close, you're just in this range. So what I would have looked at the SPY here, if I was trading the SPY, was I opened up here and I came here, and then I bounced, tested and failed, higher pivot, failed to break out. We didn't break out. We came back down and we tested the bottom. The only thing I really see here that I would do is a possible double top short and a third one later in the day. So at, you said at 130. 130 would have been a short after we failed. like you might have longed it here for a breakout if you were bullish the market, but looking at the market at 130, I wouldn't have been bullish. So if you were bullish, go long, but then you basically fail to break out. And when you're in a range like this, here's a trick for afternoon trading. Something I do, if I have a range that's well defined, so you have this beautiful well defined range, and we've tested the top now a third, fourth, whatever time on this candle, this is 2-minute candles, and you can't break out, where are you probably going to go? You're probably going to go to the bottom of the range, because the buyers have worn out. You had a higher pivot low, tested the top, enough didn't come through, wait for another higher pivot low to form, or short at the top, whatever, depending on the type of person you are. If you want confirmation, higher pivot low, wait for the sell setup, and take it. You do what you want to do as far as how you trade it. But once you fail to break out and you start coming in, as long as you can afford the stuff, you're going to come to the bottom of that range, because that's where people gave up getting it through. So your buyers are giving up, your sellers come in, and we close at the bottom of the range. So you're in a range all day. You're just inside this range. So there's nothing to say between 12:30 and 1:30 to me, other than failed breakout after 12:30. I don't see anything else. I see if you're saying like V bottom platform, I agree. Like if you're like, oh look, we were trying to break out. Yeah, the bulls were trying to break us out. Healthcare sector was strong. So there's some other stuff that was strong. So there's some things trying to make a push. So if you would have taken it here at 130, sure, you just have kind of like a double top, a V bottom, you take it into it, but I would definitely sell into the highs. Failure to break out, we're going to test the bottom. So on a triple top, that's all I see there, but that's Monday morning quarterbacking it after the fact. I didn't get answered during the middle. I don't know, relative to it doesn't matter. So it doesn't really matter relative to the 21 and the 200 in this case, or in any cases, because you're in a range. It's not like you're breaking out, you're just chopping around. So I really don't care about the moving averages, because it hasn't respected it yet. So you're not respecting anything, you're just in a range and everything is consolidating. There's no 21 and 200 here on the 2-minute. There's no 21 and 200 on the 5-minute. We're just putting in what looks to be a possible bear flag. Could be a bull flag. Could be a bull flag, actually. If you look at it like, boom, could go higher. So it could go higher, could go lower, who knows? But, you're not, and it's really tight too, so it just depends on what the market does. So we're just building a cause right now, and you just had a nice inside day on the SPYs. You could come back up, you could go back down. There's no way to know. If I was looking at it and trying to predict something, which I wouldn't do today. Yeah, I wouldn't. I could do something like this, because this is your range, this is your leg, this is your leg down, your corrective. Now this is your range, and I'd say you 450 if you sell off. And there's some buyers in here, so 450 to 450.50 to 449.38 or so, if I was trying to guess. Does Snap have a bullish pen on the 4-hour, or is it a fake out to break down? Snap. I have not looked at a 4-hour chart. Snap and Meta run in a tangent, don't they? It could be a dip. Let's see. Snap's not something I trade a lot. All right. We'll have to see what the market does. It could be a fake out. You have support. You're at the 50% retracement of this breakout move. And you started building, this right side, lower pivot. Now, I don't know the answer to this, so boom, boom, failure to break out a couple of times. We started selling off. there was volume here, and it didn't bring it in. I wouldn't be surprised, just because breakouts like to find support, I wouldn't be surprised for us to test 12 again in Snap, and then go from there. And then that might be the breakout. Now, if we wake up, and this is how I look at this chart, game planning. So if we wake up Monday and we're at $13, you know, let's say we gap up and we're like right in here, because it didn't sell off hard today. So let's say we gap up and we're at like 13 bucks, a few cents higher. What I would look at personally is, okay, now my support is gonna be like 1290, about 1290. So I would be say, hey, we gap up. If we hold 1290, I'm gonna look for a pop up into, you know, 13 something, 1325. Let's see if this tests again. If this tests and breaks out, then I'm gonna look for the long and this kind of, what you're saying, this bull flag or pennant or whatever, to be to, you know, set up. We'll get a snapback. We'll come up and test 1350, come back, test the support line, and then go to 1450 and 1527 or so would be what I'd be looking at in Snap going into next week. So it looks good just because of how beaten up this is. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. Let's see, this isn't a chart I've looked at a lot, so what did I say? I was going to come back and test 12 something. So a lot of, you know, you got a lot of volume up here. Oh, look how those fibs line up. So it would not be necessarily bad. Yeah, man. So it wouldn't necessarily be horrible if you come back in and test. It would be nicer if you just gap up and break out, obviously. So we'll see. That's the way I would look at it. If you gap up and you fail and you just start losing it, watch for it to come in and test 12, and you're going to have to kind of judge from there. It needs to hold. Like, the buyers need to come in from all this. I think it looks fairly good for a move into $16, $15, and we'll see from there. Just all this time down here, finally breaking out, finally going. You know, it could go for sure. Maybe add that as something if we get a move and a break, depending on what the market does next week. I'm in from 14 for July 28th. Oh, you're in here. You're holding. Or no, you're not in that. You're talking about the calls. I got you. Never mind. You're talking about the calls. I got you. I was like, dang. Yeah. Hopefully those hit. So, I don't mind keeping the show short. If you guys got anything else, I can definitely take a look. But roughly, that is how. Yeah, you're welcome, Miss. That is how I came up with my ideas for today. That's what I decided, how I decided to trade them. I chose Meta because I liked the good potential for that big down move. And I liked Tesla. Tesla made back my first loss in Meta, and I just stuck with Meta. Although they all did end up working, that's not usually something that always happens. But hey, if you're going to come back with a new video, do a video where, like, you know, most of your stuff's right, so people can think you're smart. You know, plans, right? I do hope to get back to doing this often, even if it's just 30-minute kind of trade reviews or different stuff that you guys want. Talking about how I come up with the stuff at the beginning of the day, then how I execute, just because it's a little bit easier to understand than just being like, it's mystic, Gator knows what, like, these levels and stuff. I'm just looking at charts, using different indicators, see what's overlap, and look where I think something could go. And sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm wrong. And yeah, next week everything's about FOMC. So Monday might be a slightly gap up or pop grindy day, maybe down and then grind into Tuesday. But I don't expect much Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday will be fun, Thursday and Friday. So week really doesn't start till then. I'll be on the mic a lot on Wednesday. So we'll see what happens, guys. Make sure you take it easy this weekend. Take a break, relax, enjoy family, enjoy the life that trading gives you if you do this full time. If you have any questions, if you do want to start seeing me stuff again, or, you know, seeing posts and different stuff from me again on YouTube and not just in Discord daily, be sure to drop a like. do all that kind of fun fun stuff, share, let people know that I'll start coming back on here and start posting again. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all very shortly next week. Gator out.